This is Steve with the field engineering team here at Wallaroo AI, and today we're going to take a look at how the Wallaroo platform enables edge deployment as well as centralized logging and drift detection on those edge deployed devices. For this example, we're going to be taking a look at a computer vision model for object detection in a retail context, something that would be used for inventory tracking, for example. First, we import our Wallaroo SDK and make a connection to our Wallaroo instance. Next, we can do an initial test of our pipeline by doing a small-scale deployment in the cloud. In order to do this, I walk through the usual steps for a Wallaroo deployment, including uploading the model, configuring the deployment configuration, which specifies the hardware to be made available, and actually constructing that into a pipeline and deploying it. Now I can run a sample image through my pipeline to ensure it's inferring as expected before I go ahead and extend this to the edge. I run the image and I can see the boxes, classes, and confidences as I expect, and I can do a quick plot on top of the image to validate these results. I also have a fully functioning endpoint here that I can send more data to for additional testing or to just use it as a regular cloud deployed pipeline. Once I've validated that my pipeline works as expected in my sample cloud deployment, I can go ahead and extend this to the edge. The first step to take here is to call the publish function, which is essentially going to make my edge deployment self-contained. It's going to package up the engine and my deployed version of my pipeline to make it available to me. Next, I can call add edge and give this a name. This will essentially go ahead and register a deployment for a specific edge device that I'll be able to use for my logging and observability. The output here is going to give me a few important pieces of information. The first two are the pipeline and engine URL. Those are going to be the same across all edge devices for this publish, and it's going to correspond to that particular pipeline, as well as an edge bundle. This is going to be the unique key that identifies this as this particular edge device, in this case store 23, that is going to be tagged for any data that comes back for logging and observability. Now I can switch gears from the data scientist making this model available to the ML engineer who is actually responsible for deploying this on the edge device. So I have two terminals open here on my edge device. The left meant to represent the process of running this Wallaroo deployed pipeline itself. We can see here that this is a Docker run command that contains my registry information, my pipeline and engine URLs, as well as the edge bundle that's specific to this device. The right mimics an application that is going to make use of this edge deployment. And so when I execute this Docker run command, that's going to go ahead and start up this edge deployed pipeline, and we can see here that it's now up and running and ready to accept inference requests. In order to see this data point in the central logs later, I'm going to quickly capture the current timestamp, and then I'm going to run this sample image through my edge deployed pipeline. I can see the results here, and now I can switch back to my Jupyter notebook and see the logs from this inference request. In the logs, I can see the inference results as expected. And if I look at the metadata, among other information, I can see the edge location from which this inference result came. So what we can see here is that my edge device completed the inference request and successfully transmitted the logs back to my centralized operations center. And this centralized logging across edge devices also enables centralized observability. And so if I look at my assays here that are automatically screening for drift on my input and output variables, these data points are automatically aggregating inferences from across any cloud and edge deployments for this pipeline. Wallaroo also gives me the ability to break out these drift detection results by specific edge deployed locations or groups of locations. So today we've seen how we can extend our deployments to edge devices while also maintaining a centralized way to log and observe the behaviors of my edge deployed pipelines over time using Wallaroo.